Hello, everybody on LinkedIn. How are we today? Well, I am absolutely thrilled to have Tom Gullick, who is the CEO and founder of Stigma and also a fantastic Prince's Trust ambassador. For those of you who have you probably saying, where have you been all year, Bernie? Because I knew I used to be regular on LinkedIn with my Master in Diversity series. But I've been so busy. What have I been doing? Where have I been? Yes, I've been writing the book. I've been writing the Master in Diversity book, and it was supposed to have come out on the 17th. But like Bernie, things never go. These are my proofs. I haven't even gotten my hard copy yet. But the Kindle is live on Amazon today. It was supposed to be on the 17th together with my paperback. And, I'm all about mastering diversity. And Tom Gullick, when I met Tom, it was at IOD Awards. And Tom, he took the roof off. A rousing standing ovation when he shared his story. So, Tom, I am so thrilled. It's been months, and I've been planning to get you on board with what I'm doing and to get together with you, but no time like the present. And you know what? It's never ever too late. It's the right time. So, welcome, Tom. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, actually.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, first of all, Tom, I always say to people, you're not what you do, you're who you are. So tell me a bit about who is Tom Gullick.
So I'm a visually impaired graphic designer. I launched my business just over a year ago with the help of the Prince's Trust. Went through their enterprise program after spending many years either unemployed or jumping through contract to contract, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. Being visually impaired has limited me with what kind of employment opportunities are available. So that was kind of when I decided enough is enough. I need to do something for myself. And if nobody's going to employ me, then I need to set up on my own. So
But
that's
first
what
of
I
all,
did.
let me just stop you there, Tom. Did you say a visually impaired
Yeah, yeah,
graphic designer?
yeah.
Now that's a contradiction in terms. Now tell
It
me
is.
about that.
Yeah, so a lot of people kind of, when I say I'm visually impaired, yeah, I'm a graphic designer, a lot of people kind of look at me and as if to think, how could you do that? How could you do a job that is so heavily visual, yet be visually impaired? And it's not, my eyesight doesn't define who I am. So, and this is why I always say, just because I have a difference doesn't mean I can't do something. I just do things differently. So
Wow.
I put things
Just
in
because I
place.
have a difference, it doesn't mean I can't do something. It just means I do things differently.
Yeah,
Have you heard this, people? Come on. Yes.
yeah. So that's all I do. I put things in place in order for me to be able to do my job every day. Um, I use on-screen magnification. Sometimes people look at my PC while I'm working, and things are just whizzing around because I've got the magnification on, and they're like, "How could you possibly see what you're doing?" But
Wow.
where I spent over 25 years using a PC with magnification, I know the layout, I know where everything is. So
Wow.
that's you just get used to it. It's second nature. You know,
Yes.
so I
And
was,
sorry,
God.
something else you said.
Yeah. So I was,
They
I
never
was
give
actually
you a
taught
job.
to, I was actually taught to touch type and use a PC even before I was taught to handwrite. I think I was 4 years old when I was taught to touch type. So it's learning new ways to deal with, um, you know, different things in life.
Yes. Now, I have the advantage, Tom, of having heard you speak. So I understand and I know that you didn't just get here,
No,
spouting off these wondrous gems about, if they can't give me a job, I'll get one. That didn't happen
yeah,
overnight.
no,
I because I'm different it doesn't mean I can't do things. I do things differently. So I
yeah,
know because you told us that you didn't get here straight
no.
away. Tell us a
It
little bit
taken
about how you had to fight your way to that kind
yeah.
of mindset.
Yeah, so it's taken years. It taken years. Like I said, the employment opportunities were very limited. So, it came to a point where I spent years, battling depression because I felt
Mm-hmm,
worthless. I felt that nobody would take me on. I felt like a burden,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
where I was relying on other people. I wasn't doing anything. It makes you feel worthless in a sense.
mm-hmm,
And my weight had started to increase. My mental health was deteriorating.
mm-hmm.
My weight had increased over 30 stone. And
Gosh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. And it was just, I just hit rock bottom, complete rock bottom. And I knew something needed to change. So, like, I knew something needed to change, but I just didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I I was that my mental health was so bad. I made a decision. It's either I end it or I do
Mm,
something. And I remember sitting there like one night and just thinking of ways, how could I finish? How could I possibly, or how could I end my life? It was
wow.
just that's all that kept going through my head was, how can I do it? What am I going to do? But it was only until I kind of thought about my partner, she, like, I thought, what it was the effects that I had, that I thought, how would it affect her?
Yes.
And it kind of clicked, and he was like, what am I thinking? Like, it's not just me. Like, I felt selfish in that all I could think about was my own mental health and how I felt suicidal, and how, you know, everything was happening to me. Yet I didn't think about what effect it would have on everyone else. And, me being me, I always put everyone else before myself, always have. And
Well, that saved your life,
yeah, and I did.
literally. And
Yeah,
to be fair, the wonderful thing is that you were at a point where you could still think rationally
yeah,
about your partner and somebody else. But there are others who got so far down the line
yeah,
of being depressed that they couldn't even think of their loved
yeah,
ones. And I know that, to a lot of people, suicide, and that's not something we want to be planning to talk about today, but it's part of your story.
yeah,
So we can't ignore it, suicidal thoughts. And it, it is that some of us got to that point and we just didn't have people present at that
yeah,
moment
yeah.
to give us
And I,
love
I
and
am,
spot
I
and
feel
help
truly
us.
blessed. I do. I feel truly blessed that I had someone there to, to kind of make me think like that. You know what I mean? And it's, yeah, I just feel like I'm lucky that I'm here. I was able to think rationally, like you said.
Yes. And so you have been visually impaired from birth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's in my family actually.
It's a family condition. So
Yeah, yeah.
you can really speak, I would believe. And before I ask the question, are you, your family from what parts of Wales? What part of Wales? Is it
So I'm from Ebervale.
Everfield? So you're from the
Yeah,
Welsh
yeah,
Valleys.
yeah. We're all from the valleys.
Yeah.
All from many generations from the valleys. Rumney, Tredegar, that kind of heads of the valleys
Yes.
area.
Yes.
Um, so Yeah.
Because in my book I talk about intersectionality, and I'm not the only person that talks about it. I'm not reinventing anything, but I've mentioned it in my book, and as it's out today, I'll mention it. And well, other places mention intersectionality, and you present with so many very, very many intersections
Yeah.
of diversity because you have the visual impairment. I know you are neurodiverse.
Yeah. I
I
have
also, and
ADHD. Yeah.
you have ADHD,
Yeah.
and then you are also from the valleys. Yes.
Yeah.
Then you also suffered with overweight.
Yeah.
So there are so many ways that you ticked the boxes of people who needed support.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, let's start first with what you were born with, the
Yeah.
neurodiversity and the visual impairment.
Well,
How much support do you think you got?
well, I was born with the vision. I was obviously born with both, but
Yes,
I didn't know about the neurodiversity until 3 years ago.
that's it.
Yeah, we didn't know, and I was always labelled in through my education as being lazy, unorganised, daydreamer, and I always wondered why, why am I so different to everyone else? But no,
Mhm.
it was never picked up on that it was actually ADHD.
And how old
But
were you when you discovered that?
3 years ago, so it's
Was
25.
to 25. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
my guest that's coming on tomorrow, Shazia Hussein, Apprentice Star, this year's
yeah.
Apprentice Star. She was also diagnosed late neurodiverse.
And it's the
And
same with
yes,
my cousin actually. My same cousin who shares the eye condition as me. He also found out at 40 because it was him who mentioned it to me, and he was talking about it, and I was thinking that sounds awfully lot like me. We share a lot of the same characteristics, and it was the same when he was in school. He was labelled the same things, and when when he was telling me about these things, it was like that's exactly how I am.
mm,
So
mm,
we paid privately actually to get
wow,
to have the diagnosis, yeah, because at the time it was during COVID. We literally just been put into lockdown, and it was a 4-year waiting list.
gosh. So, having discovered that, how did that make you feel? Did you feel empowered?
So I missed
Did you
that.
feel empowered having discovered that? How did you feel? How did it make you
It answered a lot of my questions. It answered a lot. I found out a lot about myself, but I still, the same as my eyesight, I don't let it define me.
Yes,
It's just because it's part of me doesn't I don't allow it to define me. It's not who I am. It's just a
yes,
part of me.
yes. But like Shazia, who's coming on tomorrow, she famously says that she considers neurodiversity her superpower.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, because there are things that you can do just like that,
yeah,
that
yeah. And I think like
they
attention to
what they call
detail.
normal.
Like a
Yeah,
lot of people, they say with like ADHD, don't concentrate. That's one of the characteristics. You don't concentrate. You don't pay attention. Whereas I pay more attention to detail in things. Like when I'm doing design work, I never miss a thing. I'm a few of the people in my office will always say, Tom can spot a spelling mistake or an error anywhere,
yeah.
considering he's visually impaired as well. Yeah,
I know
yeah,
exactly. So, in terms of the visual impairment, no,
yeah.
how did you maneuver? And I mean, thinking about that, even with a visual impairment, you were still labeled all those things.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly this is why I learned to hide it. You learn to hide different things. You learn to mask. You learn to live, learning how to mask your
Yes,
disability
yeah.
because a lot of people they that's what they see. And
Mm.
sometimes they don't understand it. I mean,
Yeah, no, that is so true. I'm looking here because I know that they have started, the Welsh government have launched a few initiatives to ensure that there is a means of identifying neurodiverse children and putting together support for neurodiverse children. We have some great stalwarts now, like yourself, older ones that have been around for a while, like Tanny Great Thompson, who is, flying the flag for disability in sports, and Pippa Breton, OBE, Daniel Biddle, all of those. Daniel Biddle is just recent as well with the 7/7,
Yeah.
you know, bombings. But there is so much that the Welsh government has put in place in terms of legislation now. But how much of it actually, I ask in the book, is actually being enforced, and how much of it is being monitored? It is one thing to say, oh, you need to set this in place for the children. You need to look at these various methods and measures of assessment and putting together all these ways of finding out what the particular needs are. But if nobody is actually monitoring the people who are
Yeah.
supposed to do it to see if they are in fact doing it, and then to either reward or to give a stern response to them if they are not, then what's the point? It's just a matter of ticking boxes.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to the question now about when you got that light bulb moment that, hang on a minute here, I might be visually impaired, I might be how many stone, I might feel like a wretched human being, but guess what? Somebody loves me
Yeah.
and I'm going to be missed. When you got to that point, tell me what did you do, and how did things change for you?
So I knew the first thing that I had to tackle was my weight. In order to do anything, I thought, right, I need to sort my weight out. It'd been a problem for a long time. Like
Yes.
even from like from a young age, I went through school, like all my schooling age, being bullied for my disability,
Yes.
which caused me to gain weight. It was a comfort. So that was the first thing I tackled. So I thought, right, I need to do something. So I just completely stopped eating rubbish. I just started
Mm.
clean eating, started moving more, went for walks, and I lost 4 stone in just under 2 months.
What?
So yeah, I lost 4 stone in just under 2 months. My first, I lost.
Can you give me that recipe?
Yeah. So it was just moving. Just move more, eat less. That's the simple combination. You know,
Do
it's
you live on? Do you have a lot of hills to a lot of Because I don't
I've
see me. I
still
can move more around it.
well, I've still got a long way to go. But since that point, I lost that 4 stone in 2 months, and I thought, right, I'm gonna carry on doing it. But I
Gosh.
joined I joined Slimming World. I joined Slimming World just after my 26th birthday.
Yes.
So I'd been out on a night out for my birthday, and there was a photo that appeared on Facebook, and I saw it and I thought, I hate it, absolutely hate it. And that was kind of like the last straw. That was where I decided enough is enough. I need to do something about it. It's now it's just that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I joined Slimming World, and
Yes.
I carried on losing weight, just kept going, and now, well, during Slimming World, I've actually lost another 9.5 stone. So I had my 9.5 stone award just after Christmas this year. So like
Wow.
I'm carrying on going, but I knew that was kind of the one thing I had to do, and you know that was that it was a big deal for me because I'd carried so much weight over the years that finally being able to lose it was just like a massive help on my mental health as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
so you lost 9 stones with Similar World,
yeah,
4 stone on your own. Now,
yeah,
even with me who cannot do maths, it's a simple 13 stone you
yeah,
lost.
yeah. And my partner as well, she joined as well, and she's lost 6.5 stone at the same
Wow.
time. So between us, we've lost almost 20 stone
So have you
between
been
us.
featured on Slimming World in their
Not yet, no.
that sounds like a feature to me.
Yeah, well, we have been approached, but I didn't feel ready because I haven't lost enough for me. I want to get a bit closer to my target. So we have been approached though, and we set up a Instagram page as well, sharing our story. So like,
Wow. Let me
all
get
of
into
our
mentor mode now. You must celebrate the small things.
exactly take every
So,
step as it
so
comes.
therefore, it doesn't matter if you've not reached your goal yet.
Yeah,
If you've been approached to celebrate this milestone, you should celebrate it.
yeah.
That's just
We
me
just
going into mentor mode for a minute.
yeah. No, we're just taking each step as it comes,
Yes.
each we're just taking each day as it comes, each week, each way in, and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying being slimmer.
And what
Like
I love about what you're doing with your life, Tom, is that you didn't just say, okay, so I was visually impaired. I was miserable. Now I've found hope. Now I've lost all my weight. I am the king of the world, and you're
no,
moving on. What you've done is that you've stopped and you've said to those behind you, come, let me take you with me. That
and
is just incredible. So tell me, because in doing so, that's why you've started Stigma. So tell me
yeah,
about
yeah.
Stigma. Tell us about Stigma.
Well, like I said, I set up last year on my own, doing graphic design. So I've kind of moved into the branding. I love branding. Love coming up with new branding for small business, new startups, and even businesses who want just kind of want a new outlook, want a new fresh look. So yeah, so I started up last year, and I kind of noticed there was this loads of different business groups and different things going on, but there's nothing out there that I feel connected to that you know represents people with disabilities who want to enter the creative industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did. Like
Yeah.
I applied for over 1,000 jobs before I started. And not nobody wants to hire a visually impaired designer, and it's from what I've discovered talking to other disabled creatives, is that they are sat in the same boat as I am, is that because they're being rejected because of the disability. And although it shouldn't happen nowadays, there's laws against it. You can't
So how
turn
do
somebody
they get
down.
around not employing them? They come up with other reasons?
It's hard to know. It's for me. Like for me, I came across one employer who basically said I was too much of a liability, health and safety wise. And I thought, okay, like how I'm going to be sat in. There was a job I applied for. I was going to be sat in an office all day answering telephone calls, and I thought, how much of a liability can I be just sat there all day? So it was quite an odd one. I didn't take it no further. It's just another
You
one
should
I
have,
had.
because
Yeah,
people who get away with that are the ones who make it difficult and make the change
yeah.
take a lot longer to
At the
come about,
time, at the
because
time, it
that's not
was like,
allowed.
yeah. At the time, it was when I just kind of, I didn't have the mentality I have
Mm,
now. I didn't have the strength I had now. I just kind
mm.
of turned over and took it. It was just like, yeah, all
Okay,
right,
then.
here's another one. Yeah. So if it was now, I would challenge
The
it, and I would
challenge
have,
that,
yeah,
yes,
it would
because
have been a
it is his
completely different
responsibility to
situation.
put in place the safe measures that are required to accommodate you and people like you who have a lot to offer
Yeah.
to any organization and have a right to be there.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's awareness. Awareness is everything. Employers need to be made aware that they are people with different disabilities, different neurodiversities. That doesn't mean they can't do the job. It's just that they need, like I said earlier, they just do it differently.
Yeah.
You know?
So with Stigma, what is Stigma actually doing for people like yourself?
So Stigma was originally just an idea to set up a portfolio, like a showcase of different creatives' work. So people can join. They can create a profile. They can showcase their work. They can add links to to their own website or their own socials. So if somebody then wants to employ them, or hire them, that's where they can go. Stigma is going to kind of be the central point for
Yeah.
different creatives.
And how long has it been going, Tom?
So Stigma itself hasn't even launched. I'm in the process now of launch of developing it, and as I'm a website designer myself, so I'm doing all the back end things,
Yes.
designs myself, all the website development. I'm doing it myself, completely on my own at this point. I have nobody on my team, and that's why I'm always looking for people who want to help turn this dream into a reality. Like at the moment, I'm a one-man band. I can do all the visuals, marketing things, but I can't do everything. And that's why I'm always, looking for people who can actually help, who want to get involved and do this.
So how do you get in touch with other disabled creatives? Is there a means of getting in touch with them? How do you find that?
At this point, it's just been through networking. I've spent a lot the last, through by what I do, for my business. I've done a lot of networking and met different people. The other one, again, the Prince's Trust. They have people come through their programs who are in the same position as me. And, I've met some incredible other disabled creatives that, feel the same way I do, who just want a chance.
Yeah. So, the Prince's Trust. So it's Stigma is new, and your journey with Prince's Trust is new. So I therefore take it that Prince's Trust is supporting you with Stigma.
No. So Prince's Trust. So when I went through the Prince's Trust, I set up Pixel Valley, which was my design business. So I'm still kind of, I'm still as running as Pixel Valley. So Stigma is going to be my second child. So
you're procreating.
So Pixel Valley is my design business, whereas Stigma is going to be the platform that helps me and others to share our work.
Yes. Is it a commercially driven platform?
So this is one thing I'm kind of working out at the moment. Again, I'm still trying. It's all in the development. It's all kind of.
You need people to hear about it. You need people to to come say to you, Tom, what do you need? So, guys, whoever's listening to this, ladies, gentlemen,
I've been thinking.
Whoever Tom needs you to have a word with him. What he's doing is important, and it is altruistic. He's not trying to line his pockets. He has his commercial
This is completely to help other people, who are in the same position as me, who might not have gone to the Prince's Trust and had their support, who are trying to fight this, world on their own, who are trying to make their own way in the world. That's what it's for. It's just completely to help other people, because that's what I love doing. I love designing, so that's my thing. I love helping other people. That's Stigma thing.
Yes.
So that's the way forward. But I've been thinking about setting up. So I've been thinking about setting up as a CIC. Not really sure yet. I've never done it. Never done a CIC, so I'm just looking at all my options at this point.
Well, yes. Well, when I speak to my clients, because I am also a business strategist and I support entrepreneurship as well as diversity and inclusion. And what I always advise my clients, like yourself, who have a social interest, is that it's always better to have a CIC as well, or if
Yeah.
the business that they're actually doing suits it, then you do a CIC from the very outset. But it's better for those of you who don't know what we mean, and those of you who are listening from overseas, it's a community interest company. So it's one where you can have a commercial arm as well as a social arm, and it allows you to get funding and allows you to do good work and get help to do it as a social entrepreneur. So that's I think that's a really incredible idea. I think Stigma is a fantastic product, and it's not a product; it is a mission. It is something that is
Yeah.
vital and it is commendable. Really, really
So the
commendable.
mission is to break down the barriers. Is to break down the barriers into the creative industry for people with disabilities and neurodiversities. That is the mission. That is
Mhm,
simply it. We just want to help people into the creative world.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, no, that is true. That's excellent. So Princess Trust, you've been with them now for last
12
12
months.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me what it's like to be an ambassador for Princess Trust.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible. Like I spent a year with the trust. So from March 22 to 23, I spent a full 12 months with them developing my business. Lucy, my development lead, she was incredible, supported me all the way, not just with my business, but me as an individual. Like it was just, she helped me boost my confidence. She encouraged me. She literally threw opportunities at me. She was like, "Yeah, Tom, I want to get, do you want to get involved in this?" And I just said, I got to the point where I was just saying, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So the Princess Trust have been incredible. Like there's no other word for them. Like the work that they've done, not just for me, but people who went through the program at the same time as me, before me. It's just, and all they care about is to see, young vulnerable people, get the help that they deserve.
Mhm.
And that's
Excellent.
and that's I'm all for that, and that's exactly what I want to do as a young
Yeah.
ambassador, is to make people aware that what the trust does and how it helps.
Yes. And it takes you across Wales on your talks, or just South Wales?
Yeah, so like I said, I met you at the IOD event. That was
Yes.
insane. They didn't tell me quite how many people were going to be there, but
I think that probably was on purpose. Tommy probably
yeah.
wouldn't have shown up.
Yeah, so I turned up. I turned up at the ICC, and I stood outside the main doors, and there was nobody there. And I thought I must be at the wrong place. And so Lucy rang me. She came. She came to support me as well, and she rang and said, "Well, Tom, where are you?" So she said, "I'm just inside." So I went into the front doors, and there was just a sea of people, and I could just remember thinking, what have I
Oh,
done? What have I signed up to? Yeah, so it was just like, I
oh,
remember my knees were shaking,
oh,
like
honestly.
everything about me was shaking. But I put my heart on the line. Like I told my story like as it is. There was no practice. I didn't
Yes.
practice. Like it was just, that's what it was.
Yes, that's what came across. And that is what really resonated with people. And that is what continues to resonate with people. When you, as you said, you put your heart on the line, you put it on the line. There was no pretense, there was no prep. You're not trying to go there to be some flash speaker. You were speaking from your heart, and you were giving us a message of hope.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I still get quite emotional when I think about it. And so I am really thrilled that you have decided to join me at Mastering Diversity
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
2023. Yes. So, what I want to know, I've told you why I am excited to have you along with my vision. But why have you felt that you want to come on board and you want to be a part of that conference and the work that is being done by us here?
Basically, just like to spread awareness that, you know, like tell my story. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than happy to talk to anyone and tell my story, because I want to create, you know, I want to share the awareness. I want
Mm-hmm.
people to understand that, you know, it's okay to have differences. You know, I spent most of my life hiding my visual impairment. I didn't tell anyone. People
Mm-hmm.
just thought I had crossed eyes, you know, that was it. But
Wow.
because, and that's what I want, is I want people to like, embrace their differences, be who they are, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what, you know, any opportunity I get now to be able to share my story, and, you know, even if I make one person make
Yes.
feel better about themselves, and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they take something from it, that's one more person
Mm-hmm.
I've helped. And that's why I'm excited to be able to, you know, to join you.
Yes, no, fantastic. And what you're saying really is, it just speaks from my heart. In the book I mentioned about, when you want to master that anything, what do you do? And one of the things is awareness, raising awareness. And when you said about aware, and from where you are, and in your region, and all of what you're doing here within Wales, it just reminds me of this bit from my book where I say awareness of our environment, not just of the fact that there are people out there, but our environment where we are is key. And I don't know, I harked back to, you're way too young to even have heard or known of Sesame Street. Have you ever heard of Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. And the little jingle, who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood? In your neighborhood? You, do you remember that one?
Yeah, I
And
remember, but it was
oh,
just a
so
bit
man,
before
this
me.
this one is are the people in your neighborhood, right? And it's really about, it's as simple as that. Going back to your childhood, who are the people in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
You were in that neighborhood. How many of them really knew about you, your family, in the true sense of knowing? Because we will see people, but we walk around with our eyes closed. And a lot of people are also hiding in plain sight. And I refer to that in a moment. We're hiding in plain sight. And we can be easily overlooked by the ones who don't care to know about us.
Yeah.
But we will only see and know and understand the people in our neighborhood if we take the time to find out. And how are we going to find out? We have to engage with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you are doing.
Yeah, and that's why I intend to do is just keep going, just keep saying yes to every opportunity I get.
Yes, I love it. I love
And
it.
like I said, like I said in my talk, if opportunity doesn't come knocking, build a door, because
I
you
know.
know,
I love it.
it's not going to come.
Okay, go get
We
it.
have to make our own.
Yes, and I remember, I am one for creating my own job. So I remember when I came to the UK back in the day, a long time ago, I couldn't get any work as a lawyer, and I was being told I was overqualified. Overqualified. Like, okay, all right. I thought to myself, oh, this is new, because I never knew you could be. I thought if you had more qualifications, they would just employ you and then just pay you nothing anyway. Ooh, happy days. But no, there is something as overqualified, and you won't get the job, according to what I was told. I never once thought, though, interestingly, that it had anything to do with the fact that I was female or black, or I didn't speak and look and think like them. At the time, I had no idea about unconscious bias or any of those things. So I just thought, really, literally, I was overqualified. But you know what I did, Tom? I thought, okay, like you said, you created your own job. I used to go to this church in Bradford, and it did a lot of community outreach. And they had a big city center block of offices. And I asked them for one of the offices, and I set up a charity because at the time, because I was looking around at who are the people in my neighborhood, I
Yeah,
noticed that I noticed there were a lot of refugees, asylum seekers, and Brits who were really having a hard time with the social welfare system. And I thought, I'll set up a charity, I'll help them. And they gave me the city center, the office in the city center in the block. And so I wasn't paying anything on that. They gave me the office, and I ran that charity for almost 3 years. That thing that I did gave me my most prestigious speaking engagement to this day, which is at the United Nations. That took me to the United Nations. And so that's the thing, Tom, yes, it's not letting, the nose grind you down, but then also building your door, right? Build your door, open it, and walk through it. As you said, create your own job. You don't want to employ me? Okay, all right, okay. Let's see what job I can create here.
Yeah.
And let's see at the same time how I can help others like me. That's just incredible. Really incredible.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So in your journey, yes, you've told me about your downs. You told me about your I'd have to call it your Shekinah moment when you got this thing. Okay, that's my light bulb. Yeah, I'm loved. So guess what? I'm here. I'm in your world, like it or not. Yes. Then how you then started to build afterwards, and you're taking people with you. But tell me, who or what, maybe one or two, have been your greatest inspirations?
Oh, that's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult one. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't know.
You know what? Do you know what that is for me? What that tells me, Tom, that you don't even base what you are and what you're doing on looking out at other people. You found it within. And
I
not
always say
for
it's
people who
something.
don't have inspiration, because I have people who are my inspiration. But when you have been through where you've been through, it means that you've had moments when you've had to think really deeply,
Yeah.
And in your deep thinking, if you didn't reach out to someone on the outside, you had to have reached out on someone on the inside.
And I always say, right, you should never compare yourself to other people
Yes.
because we're all on our own journey. We're all at different paces, and we're all at, just because, like, when I was younger, I was terrible. I'd look at, other people my age who, who'd been to university. They'd got a really well paid job. They'd bought a house. They'd had the dog. They'd, they'd
Yes,
done
the whole thing.
everything because that we're supposed to do. That we're told that that's what life is. You have this big house. You have the big car. And I think,
And the dog.
yeah, yeah, and the dog. In my case, guide dog. But yeah, we but. That's what I used to compare myself to, and I used
Yeah.
to look at other people my age and think, well, I'm not like that. Why am I not like that? And I did it for years and years, and then I had a harsh kind of reality, and I thought it doesn't matter that I'm not at the same pace as them, because we're all on our own journeys, and that's what I kind of understood is I'm on my own journey. What I do now, that is I'm progressing every day. Like I
Exactly.
didn't in the last year, especially in the last 18 months, year, my life has completely changed, and I'm grateful for it.
Exactly. But as what it was Judge Judy. I know I have these weird examples of what in my life what Judge Judy. People are saying, who? Well, look her up. She's not old lady, but she's a champion. Legendary Judge Judy, right, in America. And she said that that you if you don't make it in your 50s, you'll make it in your 60s. If you don't make it in your 70s, you can make it in your 80s. And Kentucky, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
old
seen
was
it.
he?
65.
Exactly.
Yeah, as you said it, I thought I was already thinking it. I'd seen it yesterday on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, you can make it. We are not running the same race.
Yeah,
I
I always thought
we're
that
in the same race. We have a different. It's like a relay, right? We're at different positions, and we must come in at different times to fulfill the various purposes that we have. We all can't be there at the same times like this and say, no,
Exactly.
that's not life. You can't. No, 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 no. Somebody's got to take this leg and that leg and that leg and that leg and and you know what else? There's another thing I heard someone say. I mean, you have some incredible things that you can see on social media now. Not that I'm saying you must spend your time on social media now, guys. There's some stuff you can hear. And one of them, what somebody said is, you can't really judge your age because, old or young. Because if your lifespan is 20 years old, you're old at 15.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, I didn't think.
that's incredible.
Just think about our family.
Yeah,
We don't know our lifespan though. But they were like, well, if your lifespan is like, if your lifespan is 80, then you're young at 40,
that's
you know.
crazy.
So we all just that if you let that marinate, it will
Yeah,
inform so many of our decisions and our perspectives on things.
yeah. And that's why that's everything is about perceptions. We can't all see the same thing, from the same place. We've
Mm-hmm,
all got our own perceptions.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 100%, 100%. This is just incredible. We only have the next almost 15 minutes left, guys. I know this is great. I don't know how many of you are able to catch this, but I know you're gonna catch it with your coffee on replay. So now, Tom, we're winding down now the last 15 minutes. So I want to give the floor to you because I can talk, and it's this about you. So tell me now, you have the last 15 minutes. I'd
I
like
didn't
you
think it
to
was going to
talk
last this
to.
long.
Yes, I know. Listen, you're talking to Bernie. I can talk. I'll keep you talking. And when I told Tom it's an hour, he was like, I don't, what do I have to say? It's an hour. Well, you haven't spoken to Bernie then. I mean, we could talk. No, but the truth is, though, when you're talking about something like this, it just gets you going, doesn't it? When
Yeah,
you're talking about
yeah.
something that matters, and oh, it just gets you. So, what would you like to share with the audience on LinkedIn? It's going to be on LinkedIn, it's going to be on Twitter, it's going to be everywhere that Bernie is on social media, and it's going to be on my channel as well. What would you like to share?
That's a big question. That's a big question. I think going, keeping it in line with what my mission is at the moment is to, share awareness that, you know, we all we all have our imperfections. We all have our, our differences, and that is that's all I want to share is that,
Mhm.
you know, give someone a chance just because
Yeah.
they might look different to you or sound different or have a disability. Doesn't matter. Just give them a chance. Like like I said earlier, I spent 6 years applying for over 1,000 jobs, and bounced from
Six
contract to
years.
contract. Yeah, 6 years. From I did factory work. I left school. I left college. I went to a college in Hereford. Most people probably heard of it, the Royal National College for the Blind. So, which was a specialist college for the visually impaired and blind. And that was the only place I've ever felt myself. I've never, like, where I didn't have to hide my disability, because we were all in the same boat. We were all able to share, our experiences, help each other, give each other advice and support, because we were all in that same boat. And as soon as I left college, went to work in a factory for 12 months, and it it's mind numbing. I couldn't do it. It's not for me. It's really not for me.
No.
But after that, I spent 6 years, just looking, searching for, for jobs, applying. Couldn't, I spent 12 months teaching IT to a group of pensioners, and tell you that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. But it was amazing,
Teaching IT to pensioners.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do not
yeah.
envy you
No,
at all.
it was incredible. It was the hardest thing I'd ever had to do, but it was just incredible because at the end of those 12 months, the feeling of, I've just taught a skill to somebody, I've just helped them open a new lease of life. They were
Yeah.
restricted to their houses. They didn't know how to turn a laptop on or use a mobile phone. So to be able
Wow.
to teach them how to send a message or search for something on Google, that like the feeling it gave me was incredible because they had a new lease of life. But it was, like I said, it was just the most
But
challenging thing. But
you were saying this, and I was thinking about it, and it just occurred to me. The older people are actually technologically disabled.
yeah, yeah, and
It's
that exactly,
not even a
exactly,
joke, because I mean, I know my way around a computer, but there are some things that I actually literally feel disabled when it comes to things like in the tech world. I just, that's a whole sector of people that are seriously
yeah,
disabled.
yeah.
Because
They're
what we take for
literally kept
granted,
away.
being able to send a text and to search on Google. When you started to put it that way, I thought, well, that sounds like a disability to me if you can't do that
Yeah,
in these times.
but again, there was nothing stopping me from being able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like they, like I said, I jumped from contract to contract over a couple of years, and then I applied for thousands of jobs and couldn't get anything. Couldn't get anything because nobody would give me that chance. And I wonder whether if they see, like I said earlier, I went to the college for the blind. If that's on your CV or your application form, do they look at that and go, do you know what I mean?
It is, and we've got to challenge that. It is this reluctance to take the time and the effort to support people like yourself. It's
Yeah,
just going to take a little bit more time. You're going to have to put a little bit more in your policies. You're going to have to change. It's not that much either you've got to change. And most of it is you've got to change your attitude.
yeah,
And that's a good thing. We need to change our attitudes. It means that the people in the workplaces have got to exercise allyship.
yeah,
They've got to create a culture within the workplace that actually makes people like yourself feel a part of, feel like they belong, get the kind of recognition they're supposed to get the escalation they're supposed to get their voices heard in meetings and recognized. In the book, again, as I say, and I'm going to bang on about it because, yes, I've just written it. It's out today and it is really good and important.
I
Yes,
bought it.
allyship is a big part of it, and that's what they don't want to exercise. They don't want to be forced to exercise allyship in the workplace, so they don't want people like yourself in it. And it's really sad. But
Yeah,
I'm glad though, because in the book again, I said, yes, you'll hear a lot of that. But other people are talking about it. There are a lot more organizations that are becoming more and more aware of the need to be good allies, to recruit with allyship in mind, recruit with being in, people that bring people in that belong, give them a sense of belonging from multiplicity of sectors of society, different religions, sexuality, you named the 9 characteristics of DI. I don't have to go through it here. I'm preaching to the converted people who are listening know about it. That's why they're listening to it, And there are organizations that are championing it. Deloitte is one of them, which I mentioned. They do some incredible work that they've launched. And they have an allyship toolkit which they have launched, and they've also last year they did uh Fast and Curious during Ramadan. People are on mothers in Ramadan to support their Muslim co-workers, all sorts of things. So I don't want to be like pretending. Put up them in time, 5 minutes. I don't want to come on here and be bang bang banging and shouting at people and saying nobody's doing it. But what we're saying, guys, is more of us need to be doing it.
Yeah.
Yes. Tom is 28 years old, so his experiences in today's day. In today's day.
I think it needs to be encouraged as well from a younger age. Like, I think there needs to be more education around diversity and the difference in types of people, that we're all different. Because going back to my talk, is when I was younger, growing up, like when the first 6 years of my life, I didn't know I was any different to anyone else because it was never pointed out to me until I got older. I thought that I thought I had normal vision. I didn't consider myself visually impaired because I didn't know. I just thought I had the same amount of vision as everyone else. And then as soon as kind of it was actually other children who pointed it out to me. Oh, your eyes are funny. You're different. I mean, and that's again, I think it needs to be educated from a younger age. That we're all different.
Yeah, that's true. We are all. I love that. I love that. We have 2 or 3 minutes left, Tom, and I told you I was going to give you the last word. So, what would you like people to take away? What one thing you'd like them to, if they remember nothing from what you shared, what's that? But you wanted to remember one thing. What is it?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Right. So again, just listen to other people, and recognize that they are different people in the world. Listen to someone else's story. If going back to what you said earlier, try and see who's in your neighborhood. I mean, listen to people, learn about other people's cultures, their disabilities, and I think that's what's going to make the world go round.
Yes, guys, you've got it. Listen to other people. That is key. We've got to know who are the people in our neighborhood. Yes.
Yeah.
And we have to take the walls down, and we have to actually truly engage, speak to them. Yes.
And try to understand.
Try to understand. Yes. Because it is about us collectively making our way through life. Life has so many twists and turns. Alone, it's difficult, but together, it's better. Together, we can. Because as I say all the time, and I say on this book, we go together or not at all. So thank you so much, Tom. Thank you ever so much. And I cannot wait to see you on the 18th of September at Mastering Diversity 2023 at Cardiff City Hall. Thank you all, guys. And share. Let everybody know about the fantastic work that Tom Gullick is doing. Thank you.
Thank you.